Okay, hello there, Addie. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. It's going to be fun, and don't worry. I know you already asked me if this book is going to get harder because it's too easy for you, and oh yes, it does. We're going to get this easy stuff out of the way, and believe me, we are going to be doing quadratic equations. You're going to know them like the back of your hand, functions, all sorts of, you're going to need a graphing calculator by the end of this. So here we go. Don't you worry. It's going to get hard, but for now, just enjoy it. If you're having an easy time with it, just enjoy it. We're going to go over today rules for multiplication of signed numbers. So when you multiply like a negative times a positive. We're also going to do inverse operations. We're also going to do rules for division of signed numbers, and then a summary. Okay, so it's going to be a lot, but we can do it. It's not going to be too long. Don't worry. First of all, since we just had conference, I thought this one was particularly funny in the setting of just having conference. So it says me right here. You're saying, Lord, thank you for this food. Bless it and make it good for my body. Amen. And this is what we're eating. And then the Lord, right? It's so true. It's funny because it's true. All right, here we go. Rules for multiplication of signed numbers. All right, so the first thing that this lesson is going to remind us is that when we add 3 2's together, 2 plus 2 plus 2, you get 6. And also, when you add 2 3's together, 3 plus 3, you get 6. So multiplication is basically just a shorthand way of doing addition, because this, 3 2's, is also the same as this, 3 times 2, and you get the same answer, obviously. This, 2 number 3's, is basically the same as doing 2 times 3, and you get the same answer, 6. So you know how we did addition on a number line? You can kind of do multiplication on a number line just because it's an extension of addition. It's a shorthand way of doing addition. So here's how you would do it. Here's the number line right here. Okay, so here's 0. You always start at 0. And if you're doing the first one, which is 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6, and you want to do multiplication, or you want to do, let's say you want to do, let me get a good color for you that you can see. 3 times 2 is 6. The way we would do that is we would start at 0, and we would do 3 2's. So 1, 2, 3. 3 times 2, and basically you're just adding 2 each time. 3 times 2, and you get to the 6. If you're doing the other multiplication problem, so 2 times 3 is 6, and then you're going to start at 0, 2 3's, and you end up at 6. So that's how you would kind of do multiplication on a number line. And so that kind of makes sense, right? All right, now we're going to level up. We are going to take it to the next level. Because what do you do about this? What if you're doing the product, which is multiplication, of 2 and negative 3? Okay, so so that's a little tricky. You can start at 0 on a number line. So here's 0 this time. I put it way over there. And this is going to be the product of 2 times negative 3. Right? So 2 negative 3 arrows would be negative 3 and then negative 3, and you would end up at negative 6. Okay, so it's basically, this is the addition, and this is the multiplication equation that goes with it. So look at those, see if those make sense. 2 negative 3 arrows would take you to negative 6, which is what you also would get if you add negative 3 plus negative 3. Okay, but what if you're doing this? Negative 3 arrows that are 2 units long. Just like we were able to switch the other one if you just did 2 times 3. But now it starts to not make sense with negative numbers, because how do you do negative 3 arrows? There's no way. And they each have to be a positive 2 units long. It just doesn't make sense. You just can't do it. It's impossible to graphically show on a number line. So that's what they're saying. that once you start getting negative numbers in multiplication, you really can't do it on a number line. They're like, the number line was great for addition and stuff like that, but basically, we're not going to use it anymore. No more number lines? What are we going to do? Okay, but guess what? We're going to learn some rules. And you have to learn these rules inside and out, like your life depends on it. Okay, the 3 rules, the ones that we're going to start with, are on page 44, and they wrote a lot of words out, and I'm just going to summarize. Okay, so rule number 1, if you're multiplying positive times a positive, you get a positive. Okay, rule number 2, if you're multiplying opposite signs, so that means a positive times a negative, or it could mean you're multiplying a negative times a positive. Doesn't matter, right? Commutative property, just switch them. You always get a negative if the signs are opposite. Okay, number 3, what if you're doing a negative times a negative? You get a positive. They cancel each other out. Okay, you know this already, so I'm going to move on. Let's move on to inverse operations. Inverse operations. So if one operation will undo another operation, then those 2 operations are called inverse operations. So here's an example. You start out with the number 7. If you add 3 and then you subtract 3, you end up with 7 back where you started. So these 2 operations, addition and subtraction, they undid each other. And it doesn't matter which order, you could switch it. You could do subtraction then addition, and they undo each other each time because addition and subtraction are inverse operations. Easy peasy. There is also inverse operations with multiplication, right? And division, because they undo each other. For example, you start out with 7 again. If you multiply by 2 and then divide by 2, that just undoes each other. They cancel out. You end up with 7. That would be silly to do that. So silly. Because the one undoes the other one. All right, so now we know that multiplication and division are inverse operations. They undo each other. Okay? All right. Now a little puppy break. We can look at a cute puppy for a second. Oh, he's so cute. What kind of puppy do you think that is? That one is so cute. So much energy, though. Oh, okay. Rules for division of signed numbers. Okay, so we are going to... this is very similar to multiplication. These are just the rules for division when you have signed numbers and you're dividing them. Okay, there's 4 rules. You know how the second rule for multiplication was kind of like 2 rules in one because it was a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive? This time it matters if you're dividing which one is the numerator and which one is the denominator, kind of, but it doesn't matter in terms of signs, but you'll get different answers. So that's why there's 4 rules that you have to know for division. What if you are dividing a positive divided by a positive? The answer that you're going to get is positive. So the example for that is 6 divided by 3, and the answer is positive 2. All right, B. What if we are doing a negative and then we're dividing it by a positive number? The answer that you're going to get is negative. So did you know that one already? So let's do an example for that. If a negative number is divided by a positive number. So an example would be negative 6 divided by 2, we get negative 3. Okay, got it? Let's do another example for that one because that one's tricky. Negative 10 divided by 5, what do we get? Negative 2. Okay, got it? Let's do another example. What about negative 12 divided by 3? You get negative 4. Okay, you got it. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we got that one and we got that one. All right, let's do number 3. What if you have a positive divided by a negative? Okay, let's do an example. A positive number 6 divided by negative 2. Just like before, we're going to get negative 3. Okay, got it. What if you have 10 divided by negative 5? You get negative 2. It almost like it doesn't even matter where that negative is. It could be there, it could be there, it could be out there, right? It's always going to be negative 2. Let's do another one just to make sure we got it. Okay, 12 divided by negative 3, negative 4. Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you say it before me? Haha. Okay, I think you got it. Let's move on to the next one. This one's tricky. What about a negative divided by a negative? It's going to be a positive. Okay, let's do an example. What if we have -6 divided by -3? Answer, +2. Those negatives cancel each other out. It's like to me, okay, this is how I think about it. It's like having like a -1 on top and a -1 on the bottom. And you can just boop, boop, cancel those out. Easy. And you have to make those sound effects too when you cancel it out. Okay, let's do -8 over -2. What do you get? +4. Yes. Okay, this time you say it before me. You say it before me. Ready? -12 divided by -4. What is it? Bam. Did you get it? Oh, all right. Awesome. I think we got that one too. So 3 rules for multiplication, 4 rules for division. And if you're like me, you're like, oh, my eye is twitching because that's a lot of rules. That's 7 rules altogether, right? But you're going to love this. Watch this. Summary. Summary breaks those 7 rules down into 2 rules. You notice I didn't have cloud thoughts over those other rules. That means you don't have to memorize those rules. Why not? Because you only have to memorize this. I'm making it easy peasy for you. 2 rules. This one is in a thought cloud. That means you have to know this. It has to be dripping off of your tongue when everyone else is like, what are the rules for multiplication and division of signed numbers? You're going to be like, duh, this is what it is. Number 1 rule, if there are like signs for multiplication or division, the answer is going to yield a positive number. If there are unlike signs, meaning you have like -3 over +2, or you have 6 divided by -3, then that answer is going to yield a negative sign. And it doesn't matter. It could be multiplication or division. Either one here. These rules apply, and this is all you need to know. Like signs, positive. Unlike signs, negative. Easy, right? Well done. Now all you have to do is go do your homework. I hope you don't feel like Creed right now. You don't feel like him, do you? No, you love this stuff. You're loving it. Okay, have a great day, Addie. Love you. Bye.